Hello, RJB here, and I am live and back again with yet another set of replays. Today we've got in store for you mostly 2 versus 2 replays, or well actually only 2 versus 2 replays, and you might already recognize the very first name there at the top. Yes, that's once again the big great Terran player Flash himself on the top corner here of the map, and he's teamed up together with the pink player, who I assume has to be Minchul. Whereas here we've got the other team, which consists of Jaehoon playing the purple Protoss right below Flash, and we have the magenta Zerg piloted by the player LuckYback, who is using the name Jaehoon. I don't know what that name means, but it is definitely Romanized Korean, without a doubt. And it appears that they picked Protoss random against Protoss random, or they picked random versus random. Something that they sometimes like to play for shits and giggles. And I think it will be quite interesting to see what they've got up their sleeves. Because as we can see right here already, Jaehoon appears to be going for Dragoons. Quite an interesting choice there, going straight for Dragoons right off the bat. Because this is the only way you can go for Dragoons on a 3 gateway build. Going to add on 2 more gateways, and then once this one finishes, he's going to add a cybernetics core there as well. But I think he's going to go for the cybernetics core first. Or am I wrong? As a gateway. Got enough for one more gateway, and I think a cybernetics core will follow up straight after, because he will have 200 minerals right about now. So that's very well planned there from Jaehoon. Whereas LuckYback is forced to go for Zerglings to keep his partner alive while he is making Dragoons. The Dragoons are very good against the Protoss, the Terran, because the Terran is going for a couple Marines and for Vultures straight after. Dragoons are pretty strong against Vultures, unless those Vultures have mines. But then of course you have to research those mines, you gotta get a machine shop, and before he has the machine shop, Dragoons will, well, before he has the mine upgrade, Dragoons will already be out for Jaehoon. But Minchul is going for Zealots. But Zealots are gonna be kept busy for a while until he has this cannon up there in his base, because LuckYback is buying him time with those very same Zerglings that we saw him making earlier. It's only on 6 drones there. Quite costly, this strategy. You don't really get all that much income, but you pretty much just spam Zerglings with Zergling speed, because he's got the Zergling speed on the way, and right about now it will finish up. It's good range on the way there for Jaehoon, and Minchul is trying to get out of that base in the top corner by sending the Zealots out into the middle to at least try to keep those Zerglings on the middle as well. Otherwise he might go for a run by and go straight for those probes that Jaehoon has here. But Jaehoon now already has Dragoons out, and his Singularity charge is on about 30% through. So this is about the time that they can either start hitting the Terran, or they can start hitting the Protoss. The option is all up to them. It looks like he's going for the Terran, whereas the Zerglings are still here trying to space those Zerglings, Zealots. LuckYback though, let those Zealots through, which now means the block here that Jaehoon was trying to set up is not gonna complete. So he has to pick between one or the other. Is he going to keep those Zealots from entering the middle fight? Or is he gonna go in and try to get a surround on those beautifully micro Vultures there from Flash, who somehow managed to sneak through, but nonetheless one of those Vultures goes down to a Dragoon. Those Dragoons there are pretty great against Vultures, and Vultures pretty much deal no damage against Dragoons. He does have mine upgrade on the way. It's halfway through, but Dragoons are already hammering on those Zealots that Minchul was sending in to protect Flash. But Flash now gonna have to try and sneak through with those Vultures, but those Vultures get spotted out by Dragoons, and now those Vultures get cut off by those Zerglings. Zerglings though, paying for it with their lives, but Jaehoon is gonna throw down a couple more buildings here very quick to try and keep those Vultures out. But Minchul comes in and starts attacking the gateway. They were intended to keep the Vultures out, so that block and contain still hasn't really happened, but there's still a cannon there coming up there in the back though, and Minchul overextended a little bit, is now caught in between a rock and a hard place. Either he has to go towards those Dragoons, or has to fight those Zerglings. Fighting Zerglings might be the best option because he can kill a couple of them, but the Zerglings can get microed back and forth really well and really quick by LuckYback there, keeping most of the Zerglings alive, while the Dragoons keep hammering away on those Zealots. So he starts to choke there in front of his base, which LuckYback now wants to try and stop, but he's a little bit too late because there's already a gateway there in the front. You got enough Zealots to keep those Zerglings out, and the cannons are in the back, of course, also assisting. So now it's going to come down to Flash surviving this onslaught, because there's an Overlord here moving deeper and deeper into Flash's base, allowing him to kill those mines, but he got siege tanks up right there on the way in the back, and he's got 2 siege tanks finished there up as well. Whereas Jaehoon has to wait for this Overlord to progress deeper and deeper. Same time, still trying to get in there, but he's failing. But at least he's keeping Minchul boxed into his base with those Zerglings. But it's costing him all of his economy because he's only still on 6 drones and 3 hatcheries in total. Whereas now Jaehoon is hammering away on the frontal portion of Flash's base. The siege upgrade finished just in time. He gets a bunker there behind the depots and the factories there though, but the tank's now hammering away on those Dragoons, which might cost Jaehoon way more than he would want to lose. He loses a lot of his Dragoons there, kills a couple of... LuckYback gets on top of the tanks there in the back, but the tanks are getting repaired, but there's Vultures there as well to keep the tanks alive, and the tank actually is being blocked, but one of the tanks goes down. Tank number 2 also going down there in the back, and it looks like this might be the end here for Flash. He does have more tanks on the way, but the tanks are not even halfway done. More Vultures there spawning as well. Now he's going to have to use his SCVs to keep those Dragoons away, but Dragoons get microed pretty well from Jaehoon here, because he is, of course, a top level player himself, was of course pretty great Dragoon micro. So he micros his Dragoons away at the cost of all those SCVs that Flash is trying to use to buy himself time to set up the tank there in the back. Now using those SCVs as a wall, Vultures there also coming in to buy himself time, places a mine, but the mine goes down because he has detection there. Another tank there spawning, tries to get in there behind in the back as well, costing him a lot of income, a lot of stuff. But a fight here happening as well in LuckYback's space, because Minchul managed to sneak out a lot of his Zealots, but he cannot get access to that Sunken there in the back, because LuckYback is placing his Zerglings in between the Zealots and the Sunken, which now means that LuckYback can go for an attack here on Flash, because Flash somehow managed to repel the waves of Dragoons coming in through the front. But somehow he's still alive, but he is forced to lift up that factory though, because the tanks do not have enough range. But now Zerglings coming in, sneaking in through the cracks, and Flash knows this is the GG. So he lifts up his command center and starts running away. And that should be... I want to say that should be the game. But looks like LuckYback here is dying to Minchul, who just got his Zealot lag upgrade finished up and just simply overruns him. So now it's going to be 1 versus 1 between a very small Jaehoon who rushed a Reaver drop and a pretty damn big Minchul, who has more gateways than Jaehoon has. Jaehoon is on 4 gateways in total and about 6 probes less. So his income is lower, his economy is lower and worse. Although he does have 1 last gas that he's mining from. But nonetheless, LuckYback. Wait, this is not LuckYback. Jaehoon is not LuckYback. Otherwise, this replay would have ended right here, right now. It is, in fact, someone else. I don't know who it is. It is probably a pro player that teamed up with Jaehoon there. That's the only way I can explain this one. But Jaehoon is not LuckYback, because LuckYback is observing this game. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this replay because... Oh, no, never mind. Looks like... he is, in fact, LuckYback, because look, he didn't die there. He didn't die. He got the extractor up just in time. And it looks like they called the GG because Minchul is about to overrun Jaehoon here, I think. Or maybe he... I think this was the end of the replay. I didn't see a GG, but these players love being on Discord with each other. So I'm just going to assume this replay ends here and that Minchul manages to take home the win because he has a way bigger mass than Jaehoon has, and Jaehoon knows this. And Jaehoon filled the Reaver drop. Yeah, he filled the Reaver drop pretty much. So he leaves. Because, well, he knows he cannot get those probes anymore there in the back because cannons are about to be finishing up. He's got Zealots there on the low ground as well, chasing the Zealot and chasing the Reaver. So he calls... He ends the game. Or maybe he left prematurely. I'm not entirely sure. But this game is over, and I'm going to give this one a win for Flash and Minchul. Because I honestly assume that this player is Minchul. Because around that time, around the time this replay is from, Minchul was using the name Barcode. And he would pretty much be the only player playing with these players, like with them. So it has to be Minchul. And this has to be LuckYback. Alright, I'm going to pause it real quick and find the next replay. Alright, it looks like Flash and Minchul got a better draw once again, because they got Protoss Terran once again, whereas Jaehoon and LuckYback got themselves the draw on the Zerg and the Terran. Here we've got LuckYback, here we've got Jaehoon on the Terran, which is an inferior matchup compared to the Protoss and the Terran that Flash and Minchul got themselves this time around. The speed is up a little bit the first phase, but we already know what they're going to do. Jaehoon and Flash are most likely going for early gas after their barracks. Wait, what's this? Is Flash not going for gas? I'm not sure. Usually Flash would be going for vultures. Alright, he's going for vultures nonetheless. He just starts up with a barrack first, followed up by refinery. It's not the usual build order that they do, but because it's Flash, it has to be the right build order nonetheless, because he wouldn't be doing something stupid. That I'm sure. So one hatchery pool there for LuckYback. Once again, hitting that 7 drone mark, soon to be 6 drones, as he adds another hatchery. Starts off with Zergling speed and Zerglings, although he's waiting for the gas and the minerals for Zergling speed. As Jaehoon is going for vultures, likewise. Flash is going for vultures, although his vultures might be a little bit delayed compared to Jaehoon's vultures, but who knows, maybe this is all according to plan. Minchul already has a forge on the way, and cannons and 2 gateways, so they're gonna play a little bit of a campy playstyle. Tries to catch the probe, but the probe is already out on the map and escaping back to Minchul's base. Minchul's making a cannon there in the front to buy Flash time to get his factories up, but his factories are just a little bit late compared to Jaehoon, as I've already mentioned. Wait, no. Actually, right at the same time. Wait, he cancels a factory? And Jaehoon is going for 3 factories, whereas Flash is going for a single one. Not quite sure what's the deal with that one, but he is mixing things up to play something completely different. There he finds the cannon there in the front. Cannon number 2 also on the way. One cannon also already finished there in Minchul's base, and cannon number 2 also already being warped in, which means that those Zerglings are not going to get much traction because they're fighting against Zealots and cannons, and here a bunker with a marine in it, with 4 marines in it and 2 cannons. That's a really interesting build order there coming in from Minchul and Flash that I have not seen used in this level of 2 versus 2 yet before. Put a great micro there on display from Minchul. Tries to at least get as much done as he can, but the Zerglings come out on top because the number is superior, and they have the surround on the Zealots. Zerglings getting the surround on Zealots pretty much means the Zerglings are going to win. So a wall being built here in the front. The Flash is building a great wall, supported by 2 cannons, and going for 2 Starport Wraith. This is pretty much a normal map build order. We'll go over 2 Starports and make Wraiths. Or Starport 2 Wraith. I'm not sure if it's 2 Starport Wraith or Starport 2 Wraith. Nonetheless, he's going for Wraiths and probably going for a dropship there as well, because he's adding on a control tower so he can shield in his tanks. He got Siege Mode almost already finished up, whereas Siege Mode is also on the way here for Jaehoon, who's on a total of 4 factories and might get caught off guard by this move here from Flash. But will he be quick enough? Because these tanks already finished up there, Siege Mode already on the way, and the dropship might not arrive on time. Whereas Flash is pretty much contained, boxed into his base, and Jaehoon and LuckYback are going to try to siege Minchul here. They're going to try to set up shop here in the front and hammer his cannons down with that siege upgrade from the tank that's now rolling in to the scene. And Minchul is pretty far behind because he had to spend so much money on those cannons. He just sets up shop pretty close. He can even fire on the probes there. No, cannot hit the probes, but he can hammer on those cannons. More cannons being built there for Minchul, but it's going to be a race against the clock, but the dropship has to finish up. No, he's going for raids first, which somehow actually miraculously might end up being a good choice, because those raids are killing the tanks, but they're killing the tanks rather slowly, and these tanks and those Zerglings might progress just far enough to kill those probes here on the minerals before the tanks all go down. But more raids are on the way, dropship on the way as well, so we can chill in the siege tank in about 10 or so seconds, and it will arrive here in about 20 seconds or so. But more Zerglings are arriving on the scene. Minchul is making more cannons there around his nexus, and the tank keeps rolling in closer and closer. Can it hit the probes? It cannot hit the probes, but it can hit this stuff here. But it's going to go down to Zealots and Raids hammering it down, and this is actually a very, very interesting game, despite the choice to camp it out from Minchul and Flash. They actually make it work. Overlord goes down, and now tanks here on the middle. Gonna have to arrive on the scene here. Because Jaehoon is making turrets to keep those raids away from the tanks. But tank here up on the hill. Tank gets taken down by these Vultures and the 2 tanks there. So that dropship attempt failed there from Flash. But LuckYback is trying to get 2 spores up so we can kill those raids here that are hammering away on his production. At the same time, he's going to have to try and advance deeper into Minchul's base. But I think Flash is going to try to shuttle over a couple of tanks here to protect Minchul, or he's going to put them up high on the hill here, like this tank is already got there on the hill. And he lands them in... No, he's not going to land... Well, where is he going to land it? He keeps turning around. And he flies back again. He flies back again. I think he's going to forsake his ally. Or is he not? No, he's going to cut off the supply line, but I don't think the supply line cutoff will be in time, because those 2 tanks here on the low ground have access to the tanks on the high ground. Gets a pretty good shot off, but 1 shot misses, gets another shot off, and he comes out on top. One of the tanks there gets sniped by a Wraith, and all the tanks there get cleared out, but 1 more tank there up on the hill, 1 more there in the back, and I think he's got another dropship already on the... No, he's making raids. He discontinued making dropships, but he lost his drop. No, he still got a dropship, so he can still keep picking up tanks and sending them in to save Minchul or protect Minchul from tanks on the low ground. A lot of turrets here being made there from Jaehoon, who now also making his own armory, and he's got Goliaths on the way very, very soon in the near future. But first, he needs more tanks there to keep hammering away on Minchul. But Minchul is growing bigger and bigger. He's got a robotic facility, he's got a support bay, he's looking to be completely fine, and the Wraith count keeps going up and higher and higher. But is LuckYback trying to sneak through and get some kills on those cannons? Get into Flash's base. He's being blocked there by a couple of Marines, but he goes for the fight nonetheless. But the raids there are pretty strong, and all the Zerglings that he tries to sneak in go down to the cannons, the bunker, the double bunker, the cannons and the raids. So not only 2 Zerglings there in the base, but they're not pushing much of a threat against all those SCVs. Whereas at the same time, he managed to clear out all the raids here, get his spores up, but he's pretty small. He's on 6 drones, and he calls the GG because he knows this game is lost. Really well played there from Minchul and Flash. Completely unorthodox, but somehow they managed to connect all the dots with some pretty great drawn lines and make this strategy that just seems so out there, so wicked, so weird. They make it work. They protect the Terran, and then they protect the Protoss, and then outskill the enemy Zerg based off of the fact that the Zerg had to go for so many Zerglings or get overrun pretty early on into the game by the Terran and the Protoss. It's a very tough matchup for the Zerg to be playing against Protoss Terran, and even for the Terran in the Terran Zerg matchup, it's really difficult. If I had to give it a guess, statistically speaking, the Protoss Terran pretty much wins this matchup 90% of the time, maybe even 95% of the time. There's just such a low chance for the Terran and Zerg to win. They either have to kill the Terran very early on and hope and pray to God that the Protoss does not outskill them with their superior income and all that kind of stuff. Nonetheless, interesting match, and time to go on to the next match. The score is 2-0. Well, 2-0 to make it sound a little bit less 2-2-2 to 2-2-2. Well, it looks like Jaehoon and LuckYback have luck on their side this time around. Lucky's got his luck back, because look at this. He got the Terran, whereas Jaehoon got the Protoss, his main race on the normal maps, whereas Flash got the Zerg. It might be fun to see Flash play some Zerg, but his ally is this time the Terran. And this means that statistically speaking, the same thing applies as last time. Jaehoon and LuckYback have the upper hand. They have the higher chance to win, but Minchul and Flash, I think, are the better duo in this case, because Flash outclasses Jaehoon, Flash outclasses LuckYback to a certain degree, at least on fastest map. To a certain degree, of course, because LuckYback has a better Protoss than Flash's Protoss is, but then we're talking about all-round skill. Nonetheless, Minchul is the best fastest player of all these 4 players, and he's on the Terran. He's a pretty good Terran. Flash is better than LuckYback and Jaehoon. Minchul is better than Flash and fastest. So this is going to be a very interesting thing to behold. Although I'm not sure if the same thing applies to 2 versus 2, because that was just based off of their 1 versus 1 skill. In 2 versus 2, it might be a completely different story. Nonetheless, Flash is going for the exact same build. Starts with the pool, hatchery, and a gas. Of course, it goes in the order of pool, gas, hatchery. Then he'll be on 7 drones, and 3 of those drones go onto the gas to mine minerals for Zergling speed. Then he makes 6 Zerglings, adds another hatchery, and starts fighting based once the Zergling speed finishes up, or it will finish up while they are fighting. Jaehoon starts off with 3 gateways, no gas, so he's going for the normal build this time around, whereas LuckYback is going for 1 barracks. And he's going to save up money for 2 factories. He has to make the barracks a little bit earlier than usual, because there is the threat of being attacked by Zerg and a Protoss very early on into the game. Because of course this is random versus random, so they don't yet know that Minchul is Terran, but they do know that Flash is Zerg because they saw the Overlord fly over Jaehoon's base. 2 Zerglings out there scouting the map. 1 Zealot already on its way to Flash's base, but Flash will spot this one out, which means Jaehoon turns around because he knows he doesn't want to lose that Zealot to a surround. But he gets some pretty great micro shots off on both those Zerglings, and both Zerglings barely staying alive because Flash pulls them to safety, and those Zerglings will now recover their health very, very slowly. It's a costly, lengthy process, but Jaehoon microed that one really well with that 1 Zealot. Gets a cannon up there in the back as well to protect his minerals, and 3 factories are on the way for Minchul, but lucky Jaehoon is trying to kill the SCV there with his probe. But the probe there, once again, tries to micro its way out of there, whereas at the same time, Zerglings are on the way to LuckYback's base, who made a pretty great wall here with the barrack, with the 2 factories, tries to get in there, but there's only a Marine in there and it blocks access. It's on the perfect point there. It denies access through this path, and he cannot go around here because otherwise he would be taking too much damage from those Marines, and the bunker finishes up, which means the Zerglings can no longer fight here. Pretty great bunker placement because it protects this entire portion here, well, this portion here, with the range that bunker provides and the damage the Marines provide once they're inside the bunker. Total of 4 Marines in there. Zerglings though here on the other side of the map are putting Minchul into quite a bind, while Zealots are putting him into quite a bind. That's because Flash didn't protect his ally by forcing Jaehoon to focus on fighting Zerglings, which now put Flash into risk. Minchul into risk, but Minchul didn't lose many of his SCVs. Actually, he only lost none of his SCVs. He lost no SCVs there in the process, so that's pretty damn well played there from Minchul, who now has Vultures out on the map chasing the Zerglings, of course, because they're a team, and he wants to fight those Zealots, but Vultures also there for LuckYback. Gonna take a drink. I felt an itch in the back of my throat, which means I have to drink something or cough. Anyway, the Zealots are being kited around, and the Vultures are trying to kite around the Zerglings, so it's like only the Zealots are really doing the Vultures are really doing something, and the Zealots and Zerglings are just there as decoration or target practice. Look at it, the Zealots never get to do anything at all. This is great micro coming in here from Minchul. Zerglings there sneaking into LuckYback's base, but LuckYback is forgetting to micro because he was focused on microing here in the fight. It's hard to micro 2 locations at the same time and build units at the same time as well. 2 goons coming out here for Jaehoon, which now means that Jaehoon and, well, just Jaehoon has the upper hand here, because LuckYback is being forced back by those Zerglings that are getting a pretty great micro wall off on those Vultures, but the Vulture now gets out on top, but the Zerglings are running away, which now means that Minchul is building mines here to protect his ally, so that neither Jaehoon or LuckYback can enter Flash's base, while Flash is trying to get bigger because he's adding on more hatcheries and adding on more drones. He's got 11 drones instead of 6, so he's going for a slightly different build order than we have seen the Zerg do in the last 2 games. Fight here still erupting on the middle. Dragoons are growing bigger in number, and once the Dragoons get their support from that robotics facility and the Observer, Jaehoon can start pushing through all those mines. But while that is happening, looks like Minchul is going for siege tanks and siege mode, but first he's getting, of course, Vulture's speed, because he needs that speed for the Vultures, which LuckYback already has finished up. But LuckYback is also getting mines, he's getting tanks soon as well, adding on more factories because he's getting more and more gas and more minerals to spend as his SCV count grows. Fight here still happening on the middle. Vultures made their way through into Flash's space, but they cannot go for the drone, so now they're getting caught in between Zerglings and more Vultures, which Jaehoon had to clear out by sacrificing his own zealots, but of course more mines being placed there by Minchul, while those vultures there are killing zerglings with some great micro, tries to pick off some drones, but the drones are quickly being turned into creep colonies, so he doesn't really get any of those drones at all. And most of the drones there stay alive for Flash, as Flash grows slightly bigger and bigger, and has a higher stand there on the way. Siege mode is now being researched for Minchul. You can see it right there. Fight still happening on the middle. Well, the fight is now coming to an end because LuckYback and Jaehoon have gotten themselves control over the middle of the map. It wasn't easy, but eventually they got there with some great micro, great control, great choices there, great aggression. Oh, is Minchul gonna walk into those mines? There's a lot of mines around the middle of the map. He managed to snipe a mine before it kills a tank. There's a mine right there, got sniped. Pretty great stuff there. But now LuckYback gets us around on the tanks, tries to get mines down there as well. But at least he's managing to stop those tanks from firing on the vultures. But there's too many vultures that he's fighting against, and the vultures are already on low HP from LuckYback. So he's forced to pull back to the middle, whereas Minchul is setting up shop here quite nicely, but he needs detection to clear through those mines, which means that this Overlord is going to move up to here so he can clear those mines and move deeper into the middle of the map. Or is he going to try and walk these tanks through all those mines? LuckYback here, Jaehoon here though is pushing Minchul back. That is why he unsieged. It was not to clear mines, but it was to retreat back into his base. But more mines, get more tanks, got his vultures as a wall to stop those dragoons from being a threat. But that's a lot of dragoons, a lot of vultures there that he's trying to get in with. Minchul's fighting an uphill battle here, but might he do it? It might just work because more tanks are rolling into the scene. More tanks are going to be sieging up here in the choke, and both Jaehoon and LuckYback realize this fact and pull back into the middle of the map. And they're gonna go for the other person. They're gonna go for Flash, who's now facing an a very uphill, steep battle. This is a large mass here on the middle. 130 supply for Jaehoon, 85 for LuckYback, 115 for Minchul, who has grown quite big, way bigger than LuckYback is, who's on 37 SCVs compared to 40 SCVs, but looks like Minchul bit off more than he can chew. He progressed a little bit too deep into the middle of the map, lost a couple of his tanks there to some mines, which started the queue or gave the signal for Jaehoon and LuckYback to start being the aggressors and try and go for the kill here on Minchul, who's now sieging up his tanks in the front instead of behind his factories, which is quite risky, but he has to buy himself more time. He has to kill units before they reach in the back. He's moving tanks into the back. Dragoons are streaming in. Zealots are streaming in as well. Zealots have zealot lags. They're getting in deeper and deeper into Minchul's base. Minchul's setting up shop behind the factories, doing a pretty great job at keeping those zealots and dragoons there at bay, but the number of dragoons and zealots is simply too big because those tanks in the back are now exposed, and the zealots are walking straight into the back line there, and he is going to topple over and fall. Minchul here paying the price of the Terran Zerg versus Protoss Terran matchup by being singled out, because that's what naturally happens. The Protoss Terrans simply become too big, too quick, whereas the Zerg falls behind naturally. That is a natural progression, and he doesn't have a lair yet. He's got Hydralisks, but Hydralisks are not that great against siege tanks, which I think LuckYback has on the way now. LuckYback though stayed really small the entire game, but he did what he had to do, and Jaehoon did the hard lifting. Tanks over there on the middle. Minchul was pretty far ahead of LuckYback, but the heavy lifting, as I mentioned before, from Jaehoon really sealed the deal. He really pulled through and got some pretty great results with his Dragoon micro, Zealot micro, and of course his very, very well executed macro. He was really on point. I don't think he missed a single beat at any moment in the game. Really well played by Jaehoon. So the score is 2-1 in favor of Minchul and Flash. And into the last game we go, because it is stupidly warm inside my room. It's too hot to keep on going. That's kind of the reason why I haven't been casting in the last couple of days, because my room where I have my mic and everything set up for casting, it just becomes so hot in this room. Like I gotta move to a different room, honestly, because what happens is like this room that I'm in, the sun arises, and pretty much from the moment it arises, the sun is shining on this side of the house specifically, and during the entire day, all the way until the sun goes down, this side of the house and this room is exposed to the sun. So it becomes really, really warm in this room. earlier when I went into this room, it was 29 degrees Celsius, which translates to roughly about, I think, 86 or 88, no, around 88. I think around 88 degrees Fahrenheit for all you across the pond, way past the great ocean. So yeah, about 88 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. Let's just a random guess. So, without further ado, let's move that topic about room temperature to the side, put it on the back burner, and focus on Jaehoon, who is doing the exact same Dragoon build as he did last time around, because his partner is once again the Zerg, which means that Zerg is going to have to buy him time with those Zerglings, but there's not a Zerg here on the map. Flash is Zerg as well, whereas Minchul is the Terran. So we've got Terran Zerg against Protoss Terran, which is a matchup in favor of Jaehoon and LuckYback, because the Terran gets outskilled by the Protoss pretty early on, but the Protoss needs Dragoons to fight against those Vultures from the Terran that the Terran is going to go for. And because it is random versus random versus random versus random versus random versus random versus random, both players can somewhat assume that in the case that you are Zerg Protoss, you can assume that there's a Terran on the enemy side, because that's how random versus random versus random versus random works. Well, random versus random. But they don't know if that Terran is paired up with a Zerg or a Protoss or another Terran. So it's somewhat of a gamble. You know one race, but you don't know the other. So he's making two factors there in the back. Bunker there coming in as well. Marines being produced there from that barracks. Flash running around in circles on the middle of the map, trying to fight against LuckYback, trying to keep his partner safe from that Zergling harass, but at the same time, LuckYback is trying to do the exact same thing, trying to keep his partner safe from Zergling harass. So both Jaehoon and Minchul are just going to progress completely fine towards their desired tech, Vultures and Dragoons. Whereas these Zerglings are just going to keep dancing back and forth with their Zergling speed. We already have a machine shop on the way here for Minchul. He's going for mines pretty quickly, making Vultures from only a single factory, but there's already three Dragoons out there for Jaehoon, who has his Dragoon Singularity Charge, aka Dragoon Range, already on the way. So the Zerglings are going to keep dancing back and forth and wait for those Dragoons before they make their move. They have rendezvoused, and he's gonna go for the Terran, whereas the Dragoons are gonna try to sneak over the middle. No, they're gonna go back because he sees it as a Vulture there and a bunker there with Marines in it, which is keeping those Zerglings away. So he's going for the fight there with Flash, and he gets a pretty good surround on Flash's Zerglings. But with Zerglings against Zerglings, you never really know. Although now the Dragoons are coming into the mix as well, which means that more of those Zerglings that Flash has on the middle are gonna go down, and LuckYback wins that fight. The exchange goes in favor of LuckYback, and somehow now Flash is forced to build Sunkens, which means he's only on 5 drones there. He had to make another drone, which is 2 less Zerglings. That is why LuckYback has more Zerglings out on the map, because LuckYback has made fewer Sunkens compared to Flash. So LuckYback, once you start winning the Zergling versus Zergling fight, you will keep winning the Zergling versus Zergling fight because it's kind of snowballs. You have more, they have less, and every single fight you pick afterwards means you have more, they have less. But those mines here from Minchul actually getting a lot of results there. A lot of damage comes down on those Dragoons with those mines, even kills 2 of the Dragoons. I think he killed even more, but the Vultures now trying to get away. Zerglings there getting sniped by the Dragoons, but the Dragoons now in a stalemate because there's tanks here beside the bunker. And tanks are pretty damn strong against those Dragoons, but he doesn't have siege mode. Or does he have siege mode? He doesn't have siege mode. He just has tanks. He's going to roll out with those tanks and try to hammer those low HP Dragoons away, but LuckYback is zoning Flash away at the same time. So this is going to be a fight for their lives. LuckYback is going to have to try and keep Flash small, and then at some point try to go for a combined attack on the Terran, which is right about now. They're going for the combined attack. There's Zerglings going in first, but looks like those Vultures there are throwing a wrench into those plans because those Vultures are trying to sneak into Jaehoon's base, and he has to stop that from happening because he has to stop those mines, stop the supply line. But now the Zerglings there from Flash are getting kills on those Dragoons against surrounding Dragoons. But the fight here happening at the same time in the front. Vulture are laying more mines there. Zerglings are chasing Zerglings. Zerglings are going for the cannon there inside of Jaehoon's base. Jaehoon managed to block a couple of those Zerglings, but most Zerglings have made their way through. The cannon's gonna go down, but at the cost of the Zerglings their own lives. But he's gonna try to get... No, he's gonna leave right away. And the Zerglings there from LuckYback don't achieve the protection that Jaehoon needed. But Jaehoon had his own protection, namely those cannons. But now, of course, Minchul is going to place some mines here in front of Flash's base to keep Flash safe. For which Jaehoon now needs an overlord from LuckYback to detect those mines, but the mines are being spread out pretty well there from Minchul, and Minchul now going for some drone kills on LuckYback, and LuckYback only has actually has quite some Zerglings there, but of course there is Vulture Micro, there's a single Sun Gunner in the back, drones being pulled off, he's got 20 drones there in total, he's pretty rich, but Flash likewise has 20 drones as well, which now means that LuckYback losing his drones is going to fall behind on Flash, who is bigger than Jaehoon, being bigger than LuckYback. Oh, it's so hard to cast the Zerg for the Zerg. So the fight here in the middle still progressing. Both Jaehoon and Minchul have the same amount of workers. And looks like Minchul is actually getting control over the middle with the help of those mines, keeping those Dragoons away. But of course, Overlord there from Jaehoon is moving, from LuckYback, is moving in to detect the mines. But Minchul is progressing forward nonetheless, because there's only Dragoons and there's a lot of Vultures, a lot of tanks here setting up shop there on the bottom side of the map. But at the same time, he's exposing his own base to those Dragoons from Jaehoon. But Jaehoon is at the moment getting bigger. He's got the shuttle already. No, he's got a shuttle on the way. He's going for the Reaver first, and he's got an Observer on the way there as well. And after that, he's going for the shuttle so he can shuttle in that Reaver drop and kill some workers somewhere on the map, or maybe go for a confrontation with Shuttle Reaver Micro. Wait, oh, it has the Shuttle Reaver here. Shuttle Reaver there gets a pretty great shot off on some drones. I think he killed about 6 or 5, somewhere in between that number. But now he's going to try to get a shot off on the other side. But first he's going to have to fly away because there's Zerglings hovering under the shuttle. But the same time, a fight happening here because he's clearing out those mines there on the middle of the map. Whereas Minchul is progressing deeper into LuckYback's base. But those Dragoons now coming in from the back. But those Dragoons don't pose much of a threat because there's a lot of those tanks here. But now Zerglings and Hylids coming in from Minchul. Jaehoon is trying to get on top of those tanks. He has some zealots there that he's going to drop on those tanks first and clear out a couple of those tanks with friendly fire shots. Gets another great shot off. Reaver there on the logo as well. Reaver gets a shot off. Reaver kills 1. Reaver stays alive. Reaver's still inside the shuttle. So now Dragoons coming in from the back. Zerglings coming in from all sides as well. He's going to try to clear this out, but I think he does. No, they managed to kill this entire mass that Minchul had there. And the Reaver shuttle even stays alive. The Reaver had only, I think, 2 or 3 shots left from Vultures, or 1 shot from a tank, so that's a very, very close call there, but it works out in favor of them. But nonetheless, LuckYback has less drones than Flash, and Flash is growing bigger and bigger, adding on more hatcheries, and he's got his Hylids range on the way. And at the same time, he's trying to block Jaehoon here, but Jaehoon has 2 Reavers now inside that shuttle, and he's forced to retreat back to his own base, whereas LuckYback is also progressing over the middle of the map, clearing out those mines with the Overlords hanging on top of the mines, but giving him vision. So this is going to be a very tough game here from Minchul from this point onwards, because Flash is lagging behind the fact. Flash is now going on into the middle of the map, but will he be in time? I personally don't think so, because Jaehoon is growing bigger and bigger with his 160 supply against Minchul, who is on 88 supply, but adding on more Vultures and tanks very quickly. But he doesn't have a wall here in the front to keep all the units out. He does have a lot of Vultures there though, tanks there as well, but all the mines on the mill have been cleaned out, and the Reavers are looking for blood. But he knows he cannot go in just yet because he needs more Zealots, more units to fight against those tanks. LuckYback, quite big here, quite big. He's got more Hylisks than Flash. Flash has been building for a little bit too long, but he's balling up his units now. And he's gonna go for the fight. But at the same time, Reavers here on the middle of the map are killing Vultures, but the Vultures now forcing those Reavers back into the shuttle, placing mines there to prevent the Reaver from dropping low. But Jaehoon drops pretty far away, gets no kills, but the fight here happening still in Flash's base, and Flash is being overrun because there's so many Hylids and Dragoons. But Minchul is trying to progress forward slowly but surely. Will he do the trick? The Reaver there goes. No, the Reaver stays alive. At the same time, fight still happening here. Hylids then in the process of going down. More Hylids being morphed there from Flash. He's gonna go. Does he have a Reaver? He still has the Reaver. Steals the Reaver. Is he going to go for a shot on the drones? He goes for a shot on the drones. No, he kills the Sunken first. Reaver there stays alive. Units coming in from the back. The reinforcement that Minchul sent in. Flash pulling his drones to safety, but he's got no income anymore. Reaver's going to fire away on everything they can see. Tanks coming in there, trying to set up shop here in the bottom corner. Because there's so many units coming in from LuckYback and Jaehoon that this is not winnable. And actually, Flash and Minchul lose game number 4, which means the score is now 2-2. And you know what? For the sake of getting a conclusion, I'm gonna cast game number 5 as well. I think this game is pretty self-explanatory, by the way, so I'm not gonna go too much into detail into what happened. You saw it all happen. It was a lot of multi-fronted combat, very, very hectic, very chaotic, very, very, very high-paced, because this game was only 10 minutes and 32 seconds long, but we were going back and forth non-stop all the time, non-stop fighting in action, conflict everywhere. So yeah, let's move on to game number 5. And so it appears that this is a best of 5 series, and both teams have 2 wins, 2 losses. And last match was honestly super exciting and very close for Terran Zerg versus Protoss Zerg. Usually that matchup is not that close and has no business being that close, but that was really well played from both teams. But Flash drew on the short end of the stick by going for a little too many drones, whereas LuckYback decided to just go for a lot of Hydralisks instead of drones. And the person who starts producing Hydralisks first on the same amount of hatcheries or even fewer hatcheries usually comes out on top. Because that's the way Zerg production works. You just spam them out non-stop for a long period of time, and you will have more units against Zerg, of course. Anyway, we've got Minchul here on the Terran on the top side of the map. We've got Jaehoon here playing the Protoss, who's of course allied with LuckYback, who is the Zerg, whereas Minchul is partnered with Flash on the Protoss. This is the first time in this set that we have Flash on the Protoss, and I think this is about the 3rd or 4th time we have LuckYback on the Zerg. He's having some really bad RNG this series, getting Zerg 4 out of 5 times. Whereas Jaehoon pretty much only gets Protoss, which is also quite interesting. He's got a lot of Protoss. Wait, Minchul is going for 2 barracks. He's not going for vultures. This is going to be exciting because we're going to be seeing a more traditional style of Terran in 2 versus 2, which is a lot of Marines with medics. Although he's only going for 2 barracks here, he's not going for a 3rd one. He's going to build a bunker there in the front to keep enemy units out. He's playing this pretty darn safe because he just wants to be sure that he cannot die to an attack from either Jaehoon or LuckYback. Whether it's going to work out or not, I'm not too sure, but we're going to have to wait and see. His vultures will be out very late. He won't even have vultures because there he is going for the 3rd barracks. A delayed barracks nonetheless, but the 3rd barracks it is. Whereas Flash is forced to go for Zealots, because he cannot afford to go for Dragoons, so Zealots it is. He's got a forge already finished up. He's got cannons on the way very soon as well. There's the cannon. And looks like Jaehoon has his Dragoons coming out very soon as well, because his Singularity, his Cybernetic Core is almost finished up, and he's going to queue up Singularity Charge and 3 Dragoons there at the same time. Whereas LuckYback is just going to keep spamming Zerglings for the foreseeable future. Because that's his job, making Zerglings and keeping the Terran and the Protoss busy with his superior Zergling count and of course Zergling Micro. Probe there finds what Flash is up to, so information has been gathered and acquired. Going for 2 cannons there on his Nexus, getting a gas there as well. Confrontation is almost breaking out here on the middle, but Flash decides to pull back and avoid confrontation for now, knowing he has to wait for his partner to hit critical mass, or well, to hit medics and marine of a sufficient number to start fighting. But Dragoon's already out here for Jaehoon. He's got no cannons though, but they're gonna be able to throw some hard-hitting punches on their opponents with the Dragoons and possibly Dragoon Micro, but that is only until he has... But that starts once he has Dragoon range. So we're gonna have to wait a little while before this becomes really serious, because Dragoons without range cannot fight against a bunker that has +1 extra range for Marines. He does have an Academy though, but Academy goes for, well, it was upgrading Stim, but now it's changed to range, because he knows he has to keep those Dragoons away, and that's only going to happen if he has Marine range, because then of course the Dragoons cannot attack the bunker without being in range of the Marines inside the bunker. So the next option is of course, logically speaking, Flash. The Dragoons have to be there in the front just to keep Minchul away, so we're going to build a pylon there and start a contain. with the forge he's got there on the way. So Dragoon's just gonna have to stand there for a while LuckYback keeps building more and more Zerglings to start a fight with Flash, who's now balling up his Zealots likewise and building a lot more cannons here in the back because he knows it is imminently going to show up on his front door. Cannon being made there in the front. He's got Seal of Doom in the way for Dark Templars, assumedly, or for Zealot Lags. He's going for Zealot Lags, I assume. Zerglings there tried to pick a fight, but they couldn't pick the fight because it's simply... Wait, they went for a move there on Minchul. Minchul got surrounded by the Dragoons. Dragoons took down the bunker because there's no SCV there to repair, which now means he's going to lose those 2 depots, which means he's going to get supply stuck unless he finishes those 2 depots there in his base, which he's going to finish very soon. But he's got 4 barracks there with Marines on the way, no medics there. Wait, 4 medics finished up at the same time, so medics there to support those Marines. Marines now moving out for the fight. Zealots coming in from behind. Zealots against Zerglings, Dragoons against Zealots. Of course, it's a very, very tense fight. It looks like Minchul and Flash get a pretty great surround there, but Flash losing most of his Zealots there means that now it's going to come down to Jaehoon microing this really well, killing those Zerglings before Marines can deal damage, and it looks like Minchul is going to get cut out in between as well, because those Zerglings are now going for the SCVs there that Minchul has there in the back, while the fight happening there on the middle, losing more Marines there, buying himself some time to prevent those Dragoons from joining the fight there as well, but looks like Minchul bit off more than he can chew, because now he's going to force to pull back all of his Marines to his base, but he lost a lot of mining time there and a couple of SCVs there as well. He killed most of the Zerglings, but more Zerglings are on the way there from LuckYback, of course, while of course also Flash is building more Zealots. Fight here still erupting. Killed most of the Marines, but he lost all of his SCVs there on the gas, so he did lose something. But Minchul still has a lot of Marines there. He's got Firebats on the way there as well, which means that LuckYback has to face away from those Zerglings because Zerglings don't do all that great against Firebats, and he doesn't have any Sunkens in his base, so he's gonna get overrun here before he get a single Sunken up there in his base, which now means that Jaehoon is in a very, very tough space because he either has to go for the counterattack or he has to save his partner. LuckYback there is balling up all his units there in the bottom corner, but Minchul is already going in to prevent those Sunkens from coming up, whereas LuckYback is pulling all of his drones away, but Minchul is going for the main, which now means that LuckYback and Jaehoon have to go in for the kill on those Marines, but they're gonna be a little bit too late. They get a pretty good surround off on those Marines there though, and they're gonna kill a lot of those Marines, but he's losing all of his Zerglings there in the process as well. Look at this happening, look at this, he killed all the Zerglings, he's gonna kill the drones there as well. Drones pulling back a little bit too early, and most of the drones there go down because the Firebat there in the back still alive. Now Zealot's coming in there from Flash, who just finished Zealot lag upgrade, and he gets us around on those Dragoons, who's now pulling back, microing backwards, but he's not gonna get out there in time or out there at all, because once again, more Marines here in the middle of the map. Zealot's there also to seal off the escape route. Jaehoon wins the fight against the Zealots there though, but the Sunkens there in LuckYback's base are going down, and LuckYback has pretty much nothing left. He's got 4 drones, 60 minerals, and LuckYback is done for, which now means the game is in the hands of Jaehoon. He's going to have to fight a 1 versus 2, but will he be able to do this? He does he have Dark Templars? He does have a Templar. Oh, he's got Dark Templars there on the middle of the map, and there's no detection there yet for Minchul. He does have detection there in the front, so Jaehoon cannot enter Minchul's base. Minchul now building bunkers here on the middle of the map to keep LuckYback contained. Fight still happening there. Zealots eventually do go down, but there's a medic there healing that Zealot, and the Zealot does more damage than it should be capable of doing, and now more Zealots are entering LuckYback's base to finish him off. I'm gonna take a sip of water because this is exhausting as hell. Alright, so Jaehoon has dropship of shuttle finished up, and he's got... What does he have on the way? Templars on the way, and of course LuckYback has died here because there's simply too many Zealots. Flash is going pretty damn big, though he did lose some of his probes. He lost probes, but what did he lose probes to? I didn't see it. I didn't see the storm. Did I miss it? Was it too late? Regardless of that, he's got Storm Drop number 2 on the way. Storm Drop number 1 already flying cross map into Minchul's base, and Minchul does have a couple of Marines there and a couple of turrets there as well, but he's losing supply depots to this Dark Templar that is distracting him from this shuttle drop, whereas at the same time there's coming in a front attack here from Flash, but at the same time Storm now coming down here on Jaehoon. He gets a Storm off on most of the SCVs, kills a lot of SCVs, only 10 left SCVs there for Minchul. Minchul has a lot of Marines now entering the fight, and a lot of Zealots there entering the fight as well. But can Jaehoon do this? He's got a wave of units there on the way in all of his gateways, but will it be enough? Because his cannons in the back are getting attacked, and the Marines there are coming in from the top side as well, trying to sneak their way in between. He's blocking access to the cannons with his probe, but it will not be enough. He's got Dragoon spawning there, but there's a lot of Marines there coming in between. But the Marines might actually be biting off more than they can chew, although Jaehoon is losing a lot of his probes there. The Dragoons are coming out on top. He's got a Reaver there as well. Reaver gets a shot off on the Marines, but the Marines are running away from the Reaver shot, making it so that only a single Marine goes down. And Jaehoon lives to fight yet another day, but Flash is recovering because he built an extra nexus to recover his probe count. So he's gonna shoot ahead of Jaehoon in the near future because his gateway count is simply greater, and he's got pretty much the same amount of tech as Jaehoon has, but Jaehoon has drops already out on the map. And he's got a Reaver drop with 2 Reavers there, prepared to start doing stuff. And of course, Minchul lost a lot of his SCVs, which means he's being kept pretty small and doesn't have a lot of production. So he's going to fall behind significantly on Jaehoon. So the fight is more or less going to be decided between Flash and Jaehoon. But it all comes down to whether Jaehoon can do something with those Reavers. He got 2 Reavers there on the low ground, kills a lot of Marines there with the 2 shots, but only a single shot. The second shot did no damage whatsoever, but nonetheless he's got a pretty big mastery on the middle in his choke, trying to move out into the middle of the map, trying to scout what's going on. But Minchul already has vultures on the way and Marines still being produced, and he's on 20 SCVs now. Again, he forsake mining gas altogether except for that single SCV. Now Jaehoon goes out into the middle of the map, but there is a large mass here from Flash waiting for him, ready to fight him. Got the Reavers there in the back. He's using the shuttle now to shuttle in Templars over to Minchul's base, which is his last hope. If he hits, he gets some serious mileage and fighting ability, but Flash getting on top of the Reavers are in the back. Zealous killing the Reavers. Reavers really could have used a shuttle there to stay alive. Shuttle is flying across the map and is going for Flash instead of Minchul. Looks like Jaehoon actually wins the fight here with those Dragoons, and a drop comes in there from the bottom side. Will Flash respond to this one? He's got 45 probes there. 1 Templar, 2 Templars, 1 Storm comes down. Second Storm doesn't come down, but it does take about 20 of those probes down. So that's a pretty good hit there from Jaehoon on Flash. But will it be enough? Will Jaehoon be able to pull himself further ahead? Because Minchul already on 26 SCVs, 28 probes for Flash. Will it be enough? He needs to drop on Minchul here, but Minchul is already starting up turrets there on the side of his base, so he's going to try to get himself protected against those shuttle drops. Flash is not making a shuttle drop, he's just focusing on staying alive because he lost a lot of income time and time again, and he's got a lot of gateways to produce from, but not enough minerals to produce from all of them. Or as Jaehoon does. Jaehoon has a lot of minerals and enough gateways to produce from, and he can make drops and some more continuously time and time again. But nonetheless, it is a race against the clock. Ooh, Zealous Vultures are getting cut out on the middle and go down. Shuttle drop comes in here. He got 2 Reavers there, 3 Reavers there on the low ground. Dark Templar there as well. He micros the Reavers pretty damn well, and he kills most of the Marines there. Most of the Marines there go down. And will this be Jaehoon winning this fight all by himself, 1 versus 2, or will this be Minchul staying alive? He targets the shuttle. Shuttle goes down. Shuttle there in the back. No, there's no Reavers left, and that I think was his last chance to get the kill there on Minchul. But he is a little bit greedy. He should have unloaded the Reavers first, killed the Marines, then gone for the SCVs. But he is feeling the pressure, I am sure. Another drop there coming in for Jaehoon, flying into Minchul's base. Is he going to get in there or not? Minchul has pretty good awareness, gets spotted out by the engineering bay, now flies in, and he gets spotted out. The shuttle almost goes down, forced to retreat and leave. Fight was happening here as well, but he got no results with that mass. And he's discontinued making probes. He discontinued making the base. He's trying to do everything he can with what he has right now, but he has so much to do that it's so difficult to progress any further. Drop there coming in for Jaehoon, but it's going to fly straight into those Dragoons, and it will go down before the Templar. No, the Templar does not get to unload. What an unfortunate sequence of events there for Jaehoon, which now means Jaehoon has to go for a last effort, last ditch all-in, and that all-in will be here on Minchul. He goes in for the attack, but that means that Flash can come in from the back. He's managed to penetrate through the front there. Flash has a pretty big mass of his own, and there's no... He got Observer, but Observer's going to go down to the turret. Very unfortunate, and all those Marines stemming in from the back are killing the Zealots there as well. And the pincer move from Flash on these Dragoons will definitely seal the deal, and I think Jaehoon knows it. I think Jaehoon knows that the game is now pretty much over because he lost almost his entire mass to rebuild his mass first. and start hitting drops as well, but he hasn't been capable of hitting drops for quite a while, so he calls the GG, and it looks like Jaehoon, despite a valiant effort to try and win the game, it was very close, very, very close to winning the game alone by himself against Flash and Minchul. But Flash and Minchul come out on top, take home the W, simply by outlasting their opponent who was fighting an uphill battle. And of course, the trend is more or less that the team that got the most Zerks, or Zerk the most often, wound up losing, which is not all that strange for random versus random. It's one of the reasons why most people play Protoss random versus Protoss random, or they simply play mirror matchups like Protoss versus Protoss, or Protoss Zerk versus Protoss Zerk, or Protoss Terran versus Protoss Terran, to avoid such imbalances. But I have to admit that random versus random sometimes has these very, very interesting, very hype matches that defy all expectations, like this one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Actually, no. Let's find a thumbnail first. I think the final fight there was a pretty good thumbnail, so I'm gonna pick that final fight there as the thumbnail for the video. Always gotta make some nice thumbnail baits. Speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. I'm gonna go for the attack after the drop. Yeah, after this drop flies in, he's gonna go for the attack. So this drop fails, he flies in a little bit too far, goes down, and is forced to go for an all-in as a last-ditch effort. And here the all-in starts. I'm gonna pause it. Change colors, even though you'll never see these colors in the match itself. This looks pretty sweet. Alright, we got a screenshot. Goodbye.